Dubai, a city of glass towers and golden sands, was glowing under the Arabian night sky. Guests from across the globe filled the ballroom of one of the city's most luxurious hotels. Chandeliers sparkled above them, tables overflowed with food, and the air was alive with music, laughter, and the clinking of champagne glasses. But nothing shone brighter than the bride herself. Layla, young, graceful, with dark eyes that seemed to hold both joy and a trace of sorrow. Dressed in a gown that shimmered like moonlight, she looked every bit the fairy tale princess. And beside her, her new husband, Kareem, a successful businessman, the pride of his family, and the man who promised her forever. To everyone in the room, it was perfect. Friends whispered about how lucky Layla was. Families exchanged smiles of pride. Guests raised glasses to a future filled with love, wealth, and children. Yet, even as Layla smiled, her fingers trembled against her bouquet. A detail most missed, but one that foreshadowed the storm brewing behind her eyes. Because behind the glitter and gold, she carried a secret. A secret that would not survive the night. Layla had always been careful about her past. She was a woman who reinvented herself, building a reputation for elegance and grace. But years before, she had made choices she buried, hoping they would never rise again. Only one person knew the full truth: Mariam, her childhood friend. Mariam remembered nights when Layla cried in her arms, torn between wanting to be honest and fearing rejection. She had whispered once, "If he ever finds out, it will destroy me." But Kareem, blinded by love, never suspected. He saw only her beauty, her laughter, her poise. And in his mind, Layla was flawless. Untouchable. Pure. That illusion shattered hours after the vows. In their honeymoon suite, with the city lights twinkling outside, Kareem asked questions. At first, it was playful curiosity. But then something shifted. A message, a rumor, a whisper from the past had reached him. His voice grew sharp. His tone turned cold. Layla hesitated. She tried to deflect. But Kareem pressed harder. And finally she confessed. We may never know the exact words spoken. But investigators later pieced together fragments. Her confession wasn't about betrayal that night, but about her past life, one she thought buried. To Kareem, it was unforgivable. To him, the foundation of trust had crumbled. And in that moment, love transformed into rage. The music from the wedding faded into silence as the city slept. Inside the suite, voices rose, sharp and cutting. Witnesses in nearby rooms later said they heard muffled arguments, the sound of glass breaking, something heavy crashing to the floor. What began as words became violence. By dawn, the scene inside the suite was horrific. Layla's body lay still, her wedding dress torn, her face bearing the marks of a struggle. A glass lamp was shattered beside her, blood staining the carpet. The veil she wore only hours ago was now ripped and discarded. Her dream night had turned into a nightmare. When the police arrived, Kareem sat in silence, his hands trembling, his eyes vacant. He muttered only one thing. She lied to me, she lied. Detective Farid, a veteran in the Dubai police force, was called to the case. To him, it was clear this wasn't just another domestic crime. It was a scandal that threatened to shake powerful families. The honeymoon suite was sealed, photographed, analyzed. Forensic teams swept every inch. Fingerprints on broken glass, traces of blood, torn fabric. They catalogued bruises on Layla's arms, defensive wounds on her hands. The autopsy revealed blunt force trauma as the cause of death. But the most telling evidence wasn't physical. It was psychological. Friends told investigators that Layla had been uneasy in the weeks before the wedding. Her mother confessed Layla had once said, "I'm afraid, but I can't tell you why." Mariam, in tears, revealed the truth. Layla had been hiding parts of her past. She wanted to start fresh, Mariam explained. But she was terrified of losing him if he ever found out. Detective Farid shook his head. He had seen many murders, but this one felt different. It wasn't just about violence. It was about pride, betrayal, and secrets too heavy to carry. When Kareem was brought to trial, the world watched. The case wasn't just about murder. It was about love, honor, shame, and the weight of cultural expectations. The prosecution painted Kareem as a cold-blooded killer who chose rage over reason. They showed photographs of Layla's injuries. They displayed the broken lamp, the bloodied carpet, the forensic timeline proving Kareem had hours to calm down, yet chose not to. The defense countered, portraying Kareem as a man deceived. They argued that Layla's hidden past was a betrayal so devastating it drove him into a fit of passion. They begged for mercy, asking the jury to see him not as a murderer, but as a man broken by lies. Witnesses took the stand. Mariam's voice cracked as she recalled Layla's fears. Layla's younger brother, his face twisted in grief, glared at Kareem. She was my sister. She wanted to be loved, not punished. The courtroom was a battlefield of emotions. On one side, tradition and pride. On the other, justice and accountability. And the jury was caught in the middle. The day of judgment arrived. The courtroom was silent, the air heavy with anticipation. The foreman stood. "We, the jury, find the defendant guilty." Gasps rippled through the room. Kareem's family wept openly. Layla's family clung to one another, tears streaming, hearts heavy but relieved. The judge's voice was firm, final. No secret, no lie, no wound to pride justifies taking another life. For this crime, the punishment is clear. Kareem was sentenced to life in prison. The years that followed were haunted by grief. Layla's grave became a place of pilgrimage, adorned with flowers from strangers who felt the tragedy deeply. Her story was whispered at weddings, a cautionary tale about secrets, pride, and the fragility of love. Mariam never forgave herself. She lived with the guilt that maybe, if she had convinced Layla to confess earlier, things might have ended differently. Kareem's family, once powerful, lived in shame. Their name, once respected, became a symbol of scandal. And in prison, Kareem faded into obscurity. A man who had everything, but lost it all in one night of rage. The story of Layla and Kareem is more than a crime. It is a mirror, reflecting how secrets can destroy, how pride can kill, and how love can curdle into hate. It teaches us that honesty, though painful, saves lives. And that silence, when rooted in fear, can become fatal. Layla was a bride who wanted a fairy tale. Kareem was a groom who wanted perfection. But in the end, what they found was tragedy. And so, her story lives on a reminder that the truth, no matter how buried, always finds its way to the surface.